Assalamualaikum and good evening. Welcome back to our evening session. So for this evening, we will have our second invited speaker, Professor Mohd Fadzil Mohd Akhir. Let me introduce Professor Mohd Fadzil Mohd Akhir first. Professor Mohd Fadzil holds the position as a Director of Institute of Oceanography and Environment, INOS, UMT. He graduated with his PhD from University of Western Australia in 2008. Since then, he has become a dedicated academician and well-known researcher in the field of physical oceanography, emphasis on field observation and numerical modeling. He has played an active role in examining the southern South China Sea and leading regional and international scientific projects. He is also an associate member of Academy Science Malaysia, Special Interest Group in Oceanography, and he is also a founder of Malaysia Marine Forecast, the first ocean forecast system in Malaysia. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Prof. Mohd Fadzil Mohd Akhir to deliver his talk.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I will share my screen. I hope it works. All right. Okay. Can you see? All right. I guess thank you very much again. I would like to congratulate the organizer for organizing this such a beautiful symposium since morning. So I'm going to move a little bit from all the hard sciences when you talk about findings, outcomes, and so on. I just want to bring back all our researcher and academician home and realize. Try to ponder a little bit about what's going on with our research, especially in marine sciences. So we've been talking a lot about decades of ocean science for the past couple of years, since 2020. So my title will be Decades of Ocean Science in UMT, Managing Research Strategy, Strategize Outcomes, and Stay Relevant. I understand that we also have our international partner today from Indonesia as well. So I hope, and even though it's we're talking about UMT, but I think the gist of the information that I'll try to share is actually very much relevant to all researchers and academicians. All right. I come up with three big questions that we as an academician should ask ourselves, because sometimes we thought we are all right. I believe that nowadays researchers, especially the lecturers in in Malaysia, pensyarah, or in Indonesia called dosen, we are actually I can tell you we are very busy with lots of things that we do. Of course, we do research, teaching, we do proposal to get grants, we do transfer knowledge, networking, collaboration, internalization, you name everything. Everything we do. So, and of course, we talk about KPIs, it become even stress to lots of people. How many papers you want to publish, Q1, Q2, scopus, and whatnot. So, but all of this is actually part and parcels of lecturers and academician life. But I think this three question does have is valid to be asked to yourself. Are you doing a research that with a clear purpose, or are we just doing research for our KPIs? Some of us bila sampai hujung tahun tu just make sure okay, cukup 2, cukup 3 paper, enough. Is it just like that, or you have your own purpose, what you want to achieve? I believe that at certain point in our research career, when I started, I understand that we have freedom as a researcher or as an academicians, so we can choose what we want to do. But nowadays, it seems that that's a very far distant things that in the end we are very much within what the university is asking you to do. So, but again, purpose is very much is very important. So you need to be able to answer that to yourself. So where is the direction of my research? I wanted to address this because if you clear where you are going, basically you have all of your checklist tick. your research grants, your partners, your collaborators, your postgraduates. So there's lots of we have a very our own ecosystem that we need to fulfill. So to make sure that we are clear of what we are doing with a certain direction. So do we understand what's the environment or the policy of the country? Where's the direction of the policy? Because most of it very much will drive our direction of our own research. So, but then the last question is the most important question: does your research relevant to the current needs? Sometimes we are in our own world, doing our own research without involving with any groups, doing our research alone. Thoughts that we think that what we have done, what to PhD do is still very much relevant now, but instead we 10 years, 15 years pass. So we are still there doing, of course, doing research, doing science and producing knowledge, but does that knowledge relevance to what the current needs at industry or at community level? So that is three big questions that we need to ask. I try to answer those three questions on my own perspective with which related to ocean decades. So people talk about ocean decades. What is ocean decade? It is a United Nations Decades of Ocean Science, part of SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, being initiated by under the UNESCO IOC, Intergovernmental Oceanography Commission. So they push this initiative between 2021 to 2030. So they want to make sure that for this next 10 years, so we are clear of what we wanted to achieve regarding our ocean. We have lots of issue in our oceans. So what we did before is mostly we just do research. We spend millions of dollars all over the world, but we are very much not clear what we are trying to achieve. Everybody is doing their own parts, so not integrated, not directed in certain issues or challenges or outcomes that we wanted to do it together, because ocean is very much borderless. So we need to do this together as a whole in at a global level. So decade of frameworks is basic. I don't want to go into much detail, but what I wanted to give you is, if question number one, if you are not clear with what your purpose, especially if you are doing oceanography or marine science, so this is a guiding principles. So somebody have done it for you. So you don't need to go out, find what purpose you want to do. Of course, some of us we believe that when you do your work, your research is part of ibadah. Of course, we are trying to in my institute, we try to impose these ideas of, we wanted to make ocean a better place. So if you do make ocean a better place, it is better for people to use it. So when you do something good to other people, it's become a reward to you, dapat pahala kan. So it's automatically your work or your research it has become ibadah. But I'm talking about a scientific perspective of the current what world is moving towards to. So oceanography framework is the decade framework is give you guiding principles. So if you are not sure about your purpose, look at the paperwork, look at the initiative framework. So try to make sure that what you are doing now has the basic purpose, almost similar or at least aligned to the decades of ocean frameworks. The vision is the science we need for the ocean we want. So the mission is actually to connect every single people that involve ocean into the solution that we were trying to get. So the keyword is no one left behind. So previously, scientists work with scientists, or industry work with industry. Community, just wait for the government to provide them with input and so on. But nowadays, that doesn't work anymore. So what we need to do now is they call it quadruple helix situation. So everybody involved, industry, business people, philanthropic, especially researchers. So you need to make sure that you can align your purpose with those ocean decades. So if you can do that, well, that will be beautiful, because this will be a next 10 years agenda for the whole world. Okay, but of course, there's a checklist. I think this is the principle that you need to make sure you understand, that we have a research ecosystem. So try to make sure that you can juggle around all of these six points that I tried to highlight as part of your ecosystem. That if you can manage all of these six, I'm not saying that you should all six should be tip top. No, sometimes you are strong at one point, sometimes you are weak at certain aspect. But of course, make sure that you cater all of this research and management. Make sure that your research is being managed properly by you and your team. So it's not just research; it's involved lots of management. It involves how you control your scheduling, your money expenditure, and so on, so on. So that's very much important. Because this is your credibility. You need to maintain that. Of course, postgraduate, to be honest with you, postgraduate is the one that doing a lots of research for you. All the dirty works, belakang tabir ni kan, buat kerja-kerja kotor ni, all postgraduates. So they come up with papers with you as co-partners. So you need to make sure that you get the best out of them, and of course, find the best people to do the job. Talent development, what I mean here is make sure that you always well versed with current technology, current knowledge about your field or associated fields. So you need to understand what's going on around, because knowledge change very fast. So take for instance Ocean Decades Initiative. So we have about, I think up until now they have approved 50 programs being led by institutions all over the world, from research institute, industry, community. So if you look at all the programs, so you'll be surprised that some of them are we never thought about it before. So, but it is important for certain communities and certain countries. Make sure that you always financially sustainable, because the only way that you can conduct research is through grant and finance. If you don't have money, so nothing can happen. So network and collaboration is very important, because you cannot do your research alone. I mean, as simple as that. So no one can come up with a good, of course you can come up with a good research output, research and knowledge, but the most important thing is network and collaboration allow you to see things in a much broader sense. So you can see other people's problems with a different kind of perspective and provide different kinds of solutions. Of course, transfer knowledge is also important, because it involves how you communicate your science to other people. So that when you talk about ocean decades, so you need to remember that there is 7 decades outcomes that you need to know, at least understand, because these outcomes is very much related to your relevance of what you are doing. So if anything that you are doing is not related to these outcomes, so it's not relevant at all. So what you are doing now, you can stop and find other things to do that related to the outcomes, and as simple as that. So you have the outcome is to make sure we have a clean ocean, a healthy and resilient ocean, productive ocean, predicted ocean, safe ocean, accessible ocean, and inspiring and engaging ocean. So other than the outcomes, so we have, I believe that they have 10 decades challenges. So what you are doing now, at least is part of these challenges, solving these challenges that we are facing as a human being. So there's a long list. I don't need to go one by one, but if you're interested, you can go to the Ocean Decades website. But this is the rule, the basic rules. If you want to play the Ocean Decades game, so this is the basic rules. You need to understand, you need to make sure that your research at least connected with one of these. I think, take for example, I think the team from here, as a sign of respect of Opecs. So I know that Opecs people do lots of research in toxicology and marine pollution. So you can see that some of the challenges is to address land and sea-based pollutants and contaminants, protect, monitor, manage, and restore ecosystem under multiple stresses, to make sure that we optimize the role of ocean to sustainably feed world population. So this involve food resources and whatnot. I try to go and find a few, 4 or 5 examples that I believe that will reflect what I'm talking about earlier. So when we talk about doing something relevant, stay relevant in your research, very much related to ocean decades. So your work should have an innovative approach. So what we are doing as a researcher is actually innovations. So we provide new knowledge. Not only that, nowadays some of the knowledge that if you're working in the marine environment, can be a technique or can be an approach or methods that can improve understanding of our environment. So I take example, there's a group in my institute, coral research group. I think many of people from faculty also involved in the groups. So they produce coral video transect technique. So this technique now is being used as part of an assessment to corals um, condition in many places, especially in the islands around Malaysia. So it being used by also Taman Laut, I think the Department of Marine Parks. So it's a very important tools. Now you can have a much efficient way of producing an assessment towards corals. So I think this is one of the approach that you need to be innovative to make sure that what you do is to allow other people can use those techniques as well, so that they can provide better data to the policymakers as well. I also wanted to share with you another group, that remote sensing and marine informatic groups in INOS. Also do lots of innovative works through drones. You know, they used to work with satellite images, satellite data. Now they involve in drone mappings, which I think it's very innovative in a way, because drones have been used quite extensively all over the world nowadays, and they are leading groups in mapping coral and habitat around the coastal area. So this is the kind of approach that you need to involve when you do research, if you want to stay relevant in ocean dynamics. Transdisciplinary research is also very important, because when in most cases, in most frontier science, not only marine science, in other field as well, frontier science usually a science that combine more than one field. So take for example, in this case, I have a mangrove research units. So within the units, I believe that we have more than 14 lecturers, researchers from all over UMT involved, from ocean pollution lecturers, ocean dynamics. So you have even mangrove experts, paleo, oceanography experts involved in one research unit, which is mangrove, just studying mangrove. So you can have all of these people involving in mangrove research, providing impactful outcomes um, towards the work. So I also believe that some of you here is also part of the groups from MRIG, Microplastic Research Interest Group, and this group is also portraying a transdisciplinary works, because most of the people inside the group is coming from different kind of background. I myself involved with the groups as an ocean dynamics expert, but we have people from biology, chemistry, ocean pollution, so doing different kind of work. But this information combined and integrated and provide us with a very, I think, a new perspective on what is actually happening with our environment in the perspective of microplastics. Predicted and engaging ocean. I believe this is also very important, because sometimes this is a group from the group that I lead. We produce a marine forecast system, accessible now to freely available online, marineforecast.my. So the reason that we are doing this is actually try to make sure that our research can be used by other people. So it doesn't stop only at the publication level. So I think this is also very important to think, because nowadays, if we're talking about ocean decades, so you need to think about the impact of your research towards the either industry, community, policymakers, agencies, and many more. So take for example, we also have MyROMS 20 plus, hindcast model data for 20 years. So this data being used as a tools for other researchers to get access to modeling data for our ocean for the past 20 years. So, and also can be used as part of the teaching program to make sure that it is, I mean, that's the entire idea of engaging ocean. And transformative, what I mean by transformative is, I wanted to take example, Center for Ocean Governance. So COG is a new center under INOS for the past 2 years. So we actually the first center that provide science policy nexus in marine environment perspective. So it is huge, because it involves lots of researcher from all over the the entire spectrum of marine science and oceanography, and we try to engage them in a way that we can use their output, the outcomes of their research as part of uh, uh, so in the future we can make a better decision. Policymakers can make a better decision using uh, information from researchers. So there need to be a center that can bridge between policymakers and scientists. So Center of Ocean Governance is doing that. So it is important not only for us in UMT, but they are doing mostly for the country. Just a few slides left, and of course, I wanted to encourage all researchers to make sure that if your data is there after you finish your research, make it accessible. So accessibility is one of the big things in ocean decades, because sharing data, increasing data network is very important to find a new solution to problem that we have in the oceans. So we provide that through INOS Marine Portal database. So we have our own database system. We are now opening up our ocean database to other researchers, especially in UNT first, to make sure that they can save their data there and can share their data when they're ready to share it. We understand that researchers need some time to do their research with their data sets, but they also need to make sure that they save their data, because it costs them a lot. So sometimes millions. So if you don't save your data, end of the day, you finish your work and then you just ignore the data, and end of the you lost it. So you just lost huge amounts of information. We have repository and reference center. So we are a collection of 50,000 specimens. Now it's a very important reference center in Malaysia in marine aspect. So my last point is stakeholders engagement. If you want to know whether your research is relevant and can stay relevant, so you need to make sure that you have stakeholders with you. So the time where you think that in marine science ni tak ada banyak sangat stakeholder, company tak banyak buat. No, anyone that involve oceans, any works that have related to coastal area, marine, so they are our stakeholders. So I think most of industry very much a little bit there and there, they involved in marine in many aspects. So you need to make sure there's two way. One, try to do a partnership of collaboration. So through collaboration in this way, you can make sure that it's sustainable and new innovation can always pop up, based on their needs. Sometimes we can also work as part of a solution provider. Some people call it a consultation work, contract research and whatnot. But all of these are part of Ocean Decades. So we try to solve problems through stakeholders engagement, because stakeholders are the one that really engaging with the marine, having their industries, having their houses, facilities in the ocean. So we need to understand what problem that they are facing, and always make sure that your works involve their perspective. And I think that's all from me. If you go back to my earlier research question, I believe that you should be able now to answer three questions that I asked you. I believe if I ask myself, am I clear about my purpose of my research? I know that Ocean Decades can give me a broad perspective and framework that make sure that I can make sure that I have my purpose for my research is basically quite clear with that guiding principles. So through all of the ecosystem of research, if you can take care all of them, so don't worry, your direction is very much clear if you have the guiding principle and you maintain the ecosystem. And if you have continuous engagement with your stakeholders, I believe you can always stay relevant with the current needs of your research. So thank you very much. That's all from me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Muhammad Fadzil. So I can summarize that from the talk by Prof. Fadzil, the ocean decades, the importance of ocean decades for us, especially oceanographer, marine science researcher, and also environmental researcher. So I hope this talk is helpful for us, young researcher, or the old researcher also, to be a better researcher in the future. Okay, I guess that's the end for invited speaker session 2. I would like to thanks again Prof. Muhammad Fadzil, Muhammad Akhir, for his insightful sharing. Thank you very much. gentlemen, we are going to continue our session with